Because there's been a lot of talk about EL615 and the issues that we've been having and what to do about it, and we have new faculty and so forth, I thought I'd create a quick slideshow that we can review before our next meeting so that we can all be informed on what is going on. So, what is EL615, for those of us who don't know? EL615 is an action research course where the students, it should take place directly before our culminating course where we determine if they can graduate or not from the program, which is GR698. In this course, students learn what action research is. They learn about each component of a research paper. They learn how to write academically. You'd be surprised how many don't know how to do this. And what APA is and how to apply it. Then they can actually conduct an action research within their classroom that is based off of an in-depth literature review. They learn the components of assessment, quantitative, qualitative, all that sort of thing, how to triangulate their data. They collect, they chart, they graph, and they discuss their data. They compile all of this into basically a thesis paper, and then they create a presentation of that research. Honestly, it's 2 courses in one, at least 2 courses in one, making it daunting for the students, instructor, and the advisors as well, as was discussed in our past meeting. What is the role of the advisor, and so forth. So it's good to know also that GR698, as I mentioned a little bit before, relies solely on the work done in EL615 in one course instead of the preponderance of courses. A little background. I did my research and discovered that EL615 was created to replace the original portfolio assignment that was used to highlight key items that was learned throughout the entire program. So not just 1 or 2 things, but they had different parts of that portfolio covered different aspects of the program. Instead of a portfolio, it was determined that they wanted an authentic assessment. I mean, we live in the show me state. You say you know how to do all this stuff, show me, put it into action. So that's where the students, our master students, were expected to put into practice what they had learned throughout the program. So the idea was that the pieces of EL615 would be taught in small pieces throughout the program. It's a scaffolding. Okay? Now, I know we have academic freedom when teaching our courses and so forth. So, I mean, there are definitely some things that could lead to that not taking place. So, here's the problem. I've taught this course now for 5 years, and I can tell you that the students are not prepared to do all that is required in the course. They don't understand. Some of them never heard of APA. They don't know the difference between they don't know how to synthesize information in a literature review. Those sorts of things. They're not ready. Also, GR698, our culminating course, where they present and we give our stamp of approval, it's only relying on EL615. It's not a representation of our entire program. and I personally have a major issue with that. I don't think it's doing our program any favors. I don't think it's doing our students any favors. We should be able to see in GR 698, have we or have we not made a difference in the life of this teacher? Have they grasped the true scope and sequence of what it is that we're attempting to do with them? And also another problem, trust me, nobody wants to teach this course. It is daunting. Students, instructors, and advisors are all overwhelmed by the course. Every semester that I see it on my queue, I spend more time with those students in 615 than I do if you combine everything else with all of my other courses. And I spend a lot of time with my other courses and those students. I know there's going to be a lot of late nights if I'm teaching 615. So what are our goals as a department? Well, we need a solution to the 615 problem. We need to analyze these solutions collaboratively, and then we need to implement and agree upon a solution. And not just a stagnant solution, but one that we can come back to and reevaluate and amend as we see fit. I did some research, as all good adjunct professors should do, or assistant, whatever I am. Okay, so now I do teach in my assessment class about authentic assessment, but I wanted to dive deeper into authentic assessment in the college setting. It's one thing for elementary students, it's another thing for college and practicing teachers. So authentic assessment basically, and I know I'm reading, but read along with me, takes what has been learned and puts it into practice. It truly does embody the 4 C's of future-ready learning. And that is regardless if you are a second grader or a doctoral student. Okay? Action research, it truly does. The 4 C's, communication, collaboration, creativity, and critical thinking. I did a deep dive looking at several universities, as many as I could find. I believe there were 21 of them that I was able to locate nationally that have programs much like ours for masters in education. And of those, 92% of the online, they had a course similar to ours directly before their equivalent to GR 698. And that's not saying that 92% of all do. These are just the ones that I could find. And I did do a major deep dive. And considering the learning outcomes that we have for our master's programs, and if you click here, you'll be able to see it. You can see where certain courses address. You can see that when we created this course, you can tell that those that worked on the scope and sequence of the course, you can see where different aspects of 615 are represented or were intended to be represented. I'm not casting blame on anybody. It's just this is an opportunity for us to just take a deep breath and think about it. Okay, so I've come up with a few plans, a few ideas, and not just me. I'm taking ideas from other people as well. And these are just, I've got 3 ideas that I put into these slides. There may be more ideas. This is just a beginning talking point for coming up with a solution to our 615 problem. So, plan A, just get rid of it. The students would take EL, I think it's EL, it might be GR, 691 instead. All right, so what's the pros of that? So the students would have an entire semester to really take a deep dive into what is research, not just action research, but different types of research. So they're learning what research is, basically. And having been in on a 698 presentation of somebody who went through 691 instead of 615, I can tell you that that student did a good job. Basically, they presented their literature review. Again, a con. Well, GR698 would have to be revamped because currently it is set up for 615. And the culminating activity would still not encapsulate our entire program. It would, as it stands, it would still only encapsulate one course, which would be the 691. So we would have to look at 698 and say, well, how do we want to represent the preponderance of our program? Also, another con or a drawback would be that we would be, from EESE's point of view, losing a course. 691 is only taught from the LMS program, from my understanding. Okay? Plan B, split the course. Maybe have one that is what is action research, and then the second one, the follow-up, action research and practice. So the students would have time to actually learn the components of action research. How do you make a literature review? How do you synthesize your data, your information? How do you write an appropriate action research question? That sort of thing. And then they could take the course of, all right, now that you know what all this is, do it. And then going through it. And then they would have an entire semester to gather the data. Currently, our students are only gathering data. They only have like 3 or 4 weeks to gather their data. This would give them a better idea of, is their action actually making a positive or negative or a null conclusion. More instructors would be willing to teach the course. It wouldn't be so overwhelming. It wouldn't be like, oh my God, no, I'm not doing this. And we would get to keep the course in the program. A con, GR698 would still need to be revamped to represent the preponderance of our entire program. Okay. And then plan C, realignment. We could collaboratively look at the progression of our courses and make sure that there is scaffolding. So while everybody does have academic license to interpret their syllabus and teach it the way that they need to, we could word things in our syllabi to make sure that certain pieces of the course are implemented. Okay? Like APA is going to, APA will be taught in this section. Something, I don't know, something like that. We can talk about wording and all that stuff, but this is just, again, these are just ideas. I'm throwing out stuff. Pros. Students will be better prepared for the different aspects of 615 and able to focus on the implementation and reflection of action research. By the time they would get to 615, to my course, they'd be ready. So they wouldn't have to be learning, okay, how do I do a literature review? They'd already know because they've already done it. 698 would better represent our entire program. Yes, they're talking about the research that they did in 615, but 615 is representationally produced from everything they learned up until that point. More instructions, again, more instructors will be willing to teach the course because the students are coming in with the knowledge that they need. And again, we get to keep the course in our program. A con that I just thought of, well, hang on, I forgot it already. Anyway, so this course, so a con would be this would take a lot of communication and collaboration and time from us. And it's not a quick fix. We would have to get together and discuss all of this. So that's something to think about as well. That was a really good thought I just had. Oh well. Okay. So conclusion, what we're currently doing is not working. It's not in the best interest of our students, our faculty, or our program. Action, research, action needs to take place. We do have options. And not just these 3 options. You may have another idea. You may have other options. We need to bring these all to the table and collaboratively decide, as a program, what are we going to do. So, there you go. Here's some citations. And thank you. I appreciate all of you, and I'm very hopeful that we're able to work together and come up with a viable solution that works for everybody. Thanks.